Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of Andrewsfootball.com, and with the 22nd pick in the 2019 NFL Draft, who will the Baltimore Ravens select? Well, this is a fun time to be a Ravens fan because 2 years ago, Ozzie Newsome, who since stepped down as Baltimore Ravens general manager, he decided to make a bold choice, trade back into the first round and select Lamar Jackson, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback out of Louisville. And last year he was forced into the starting role. The Ravens lost 3 games straight. The record was actually at the time, it was 4-6. And that can't be right. It's 4-5. It was 4-5. They were in the midst of a 3-game losing streak, and they inserted Lamar Jackson and ended up winning 6-1. The one loss is at Arrowhead in overtime. Not a bad loss at all, losing to Kansas City at Arrowhead in overtime. They end up getting into the playoffs where they lost to the Chargers, a really good football team. There's no shame in losing that game, but it did expose the Ravens as having some limitations. This year, however, it's going to be a different story because a lot of changes were made. They lose future Hall of Famer Terrell Suggs, C.J. Mosley, Eric Weddle, and of course the Joe Flacco trade. Now they did add Earl Thomas. RG3 will be staying, which I think is a brilliant idea. If you get a running quarterback like Lamar Jackson, it's great to have a running backup and a guy who's in a very similar situation that Lamar Jackson's in, being a first-round former Heisman Trophy winner. So that situation's a little hard to duplicate, but they have that because if Lamar Jackson is injured, you insert RG3 and you can still run the same game plan. So I think that was a big signing that's probably not going to be very important, but it could be important. And the reason why it could be important is because some things need to change from 2018. Because here's some stats of Lamar Jackson's 7 starts. 1,114 passing yards. That's an average of 115.14 a game. 2 days ago, I did Pittsburgh Steelers. Roethlisberger almost doubled that, okay? He did have 556 rushing yards, which averages out to 79.43, just half a yard under 80. And that's on 119 attempts. So that's, in those 7 starts, he averaged 17 carries, 17.43 yards a game. That's good for a running back. You're a quarterback! So that needs to change, because if it doesn't change, you're going to see a lot more of RG3 than you want to. Okay? So you really don't want that. You got to have him pass the ball more. And the great thing is that ESPN reported that he was down in Florida with his wide receivers practicing, working on what he needs to work on the most, and that's passing the football, because if he does the same thing for 16 full games, he's not going to be around. You can't have your quarterback have 17 carries a game. It doesn't work. But it sounds like the Ravens are in the process of doing that because some changes needed to be made from 2018 to 2019. That's the number one thing right now. You can't have them run the ball 17 times a game. Now, you get into the playoffs, you get into late in the season, you want them to run the ball a little more if you're fighting for a playoff spot? Absolutely. But you can't have them run the ball 17 times a game. There's no excuse for that. So going forward, you really need him to throw the ball more. And the good news is that with the 22nd pick in the 2019 draft, there's a perfect player to provide some help for that. And it's my draft crush, N'Keal Harry. And if he's available at pick 22, I think you got to pull the trigger. Now losing a lot of free agents that they did, the Ravens could go in a variety of different directions, all right? You can go corner. You could go a young safety. You could go for a middle linebacker here if you like one. You could go some help for the front 7. I toyed around putting Brian Burns here, replacing Terrell Suggs. But this pick makes sense for a lot of reasons. There's a few reasons in particular. Number one, he benched 225 27 times. That was tied for the highest with DK Metcalf, who's everybody's been raving about after his immensely good combine, is that 27 times. That's an awesome amount for a wide receiver, okay? 17 would have been good. 27's amazing. So you have a strong, powerful wide receiver in a running-based offense. Now, keep in mind, even though Lamar Jackson needs to change throwing the ball so much, the Ravens are going to run the ball, okay? The Ravens are a running team, but you need a receiver who's not afraid to mix things up downfield. And that's another thing, is that who did N'Keal Harry play for in college? He played for Herm Edwards, an ex-NFL coach who liked to run the football. So he should be prepared to come into an organization like Baltimore, unlike a lot of wide receivers who never had to block anybody before, except for screenplays. He should be a little more adept, and his learning curve should be faster into blocking defensive backs downfield. So that's something that I think that's huge for the Baltimore Ravens more than some other teams. Number 3 is that he may have the best hands in the draft. With his size, he's about 6'3", 6'4". He's going to be a red zone target. Now, you have some tight ends that will also fill that role nicely, but it'd be nice to have an outside threat that can help in the red zone with your tight ends, give Lamar Jackson some room. And, basically you try to want to spread things out, because the best thing is if you spread things out when you have a quarterback with Lamar Jackson's speed, you get everybody spread out, bam, right through the middle for an easy touchdown, because he is going to run the ball some, but you got to limit those carries. And then you also want to pick and choose. He has a 5-yard run straight into an end zone where he's untouched. Well, that's not a bad thing. So, and the last point, a reason why I love N'Keal Harry going here to Baltimore, is his run after the catch ability. He was the punt returner for Arizona State. I don't think he's going to return punts in the NFL. He doesn't have that type of speed and that type of agility and that type of athleticism. But the simple fact that he was able to run after the catch, I think really means a big deal, because the Ravens is going to be a completely different type of offense. I don't think they're going to go downfield as much. They're going to use N'Keal Harry in short, intermediate routes, and they're going to need him to make some plays on his own. He's going to have to get a lot of run after the catch, that rack yardage. And this is going to be more important for the Ravens than it would be a lot of other teams, because the Ravens are going to have a conservative game plan. They are going to use Lamar Jackson running the ball, not 17 times a game, but he's going to have some, quarterback draws a lot more than your standard quarterback. They're going to use a lot more 2 tight end sets. They're not going to be creative. You're not going to see them line up 5 wide, throw the ball 50 times a game. You're not going to see that. So having a wide receiver with strength, run after the catch ability is very, very important. A lot more for the Ravens than it would be for a lot of other teams. I will admit N'Keal Harry is my favorite receiver in this draft. I like him more than DK Metcalf, and I actually think that there's a good chance he could be a better player than DK Metcalf, but I understand why you take DK Metcalf a lot higher than you would take N'Keal Harry. I understand that completely. When everything's said and done 20 years from now, which one will be the better player? I actually think it's going to be N'Keal Harry. I really believe that. But, hey, I say with my opinion, and the number one thing about Andrews football, if I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. I admit it. I own up. When I make a mistake, hey, I'm wrong, and that's not a problem for me. So, listen, folks, if you're watching this video right now, I want to thank you so much. You know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams will come true. But if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, you're a fan of N'Keal Harry, you love mock drafts, or you just love the NFL draft in general, or you just want to see this awesome hat, I got some great news for you here. There's this really little button right down here. It looks red. And go ahead and take a look at it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Wait till tomorrow where I break down the 23rd pick in the draft. I'll see you tomorrow.